Time for Financial Focus, financial analyst Steve Budin joining us live now. Hello to you.
Good morning.
Yes, thank you so much for coming in, as always.
Sure.
All right, we're going to start with kind of bad news, I would say. Nevadans have some of the lowest credit scores of anyone in the country.
Yeah, I've been talking about this for years, and I guess more people need to watch our segments because we don't get the message out like I would like.
Yes.
Depending on the survey, Nevadans rank about 40th out of the 50 states in terms of a cumulative credit score for our residents. And, you know, for the most part, Vegas is still a largely cash economy, so you're asking me why would people's credit scores be a little lower. Some folks may not even have credit because they're used to dealing in cash. But it's pretty significant. You know, you can pay higher interest rates on your loans. And in fact, nowadays, a lot of employers will check your credit score before they hire you. So it's an important number.
So what can people do to bump that number back up? Yeah,
we're going to do some segments on this, on how to improve your credit score, but just some basics. Clearly, pay your bills on time. That's the most important thing. There are other things, though. If you have outstanding credit card accounts, consider closing some of those. So again, I'll talk in more detail over time, but most importantly, pay your bills on time, and that immediately increases your score.
Good quick tips there, though. Yeah. Moving on, just an astounding statistic, 1,700 robocalls per second in the United States.
I thought you'd like that one.
I do like it. I love big numbers like that.
Yes. Yeah, and this is a problem we all have to deal with it, robocalls. 1,700 per second come through, and you were asking me off camera. I would guess at least 90% of those are fraudulent or scams. So it's a nuisance more than anything. I've been reporting on this for the last couple of years, and believe it or not, the cell service companies are getting a lot better. There's federal legislation out there to try to improve the technology to allow us to fight this better, but primarily a lot of it is our fault. When you sign up for a free service or a sample of something, they'll ask you your name, your email address, and very often your phone number. That phone number now gets sold to a lot of these telemarketing companies. So be careful when you sign up for a free service what number you put in there.
How do you recognize these robocalls?
Yeah, I wish I had that answer too. I get them all the time. They're getting a lot more creative. They put your own zip code and in there, I'm sorry, area code in there, and it looks like a friend is calling, the first 3 digits of your cell number. I don't know how they do that. I mean, they can create billions of samples every minute, and it's just random on how they call you, but it's annoying. Stay on Congress. You know, there's some legislation that's being held up with all of the craziness in Washington. They can pass, everybody agrees robocalls are a problem. And most importantly, don't give your number out. Most importantly, don't give your credit card number out when a robocall comes.
When I see a number I don't know, I just don't answer.
Yeah, and that's a sad thing, right?
People are getting a hold of me. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
All right, Google just bought FitBit.
That's right.
Wow.
Another
so what
thing,
does that mean?
Yeah, another thing about privacy. FitBit, a lot of the wrist things that you put on, and it monitors your sleep and your heart rate, was just sold to Google. And there's been a lot of controversy recently on what do they do with our personal data. Now that Google owns Fitbit, what's going to happen with our health data? So it's not just financial we're dealing with now. Now we're dealing with health issues. So whether it's the Apple Watch, whether it's the Fitbit, just again, be on notice that if you buy some of these products, a lot of the big technology companies are going to have access to your data. So just you have to be very careful on what you do with your own personal information.
Is there a way, do you think, with Fitbit just to you know, opt out of that kind of sharing? Okay.
And I think the trend is going that way. I think Google, Apple, a lot of these big companies, Amazon, are getting pressured to treat our personal information more closely. And I think over time the trend will be the opt-out situation where you may subscribe to something or buy something and they'll say, we're going to transfer your data unless you tell us not to. And I think that's a simple solution. So
you just have to go through with a fine-tooth comb.
Yeah.
Steve, thank you so much for coming in, as always.
Sure.
Appreciate it. All right, more